As a reminder, we will be starting in 5 minutes. Again, if you like to have complimentary water or coffee, you can find that in the concessions. That is free. Brought to you by TDCU and HEB. Again, this is also a good time to silence your cell phones. So if you do have your cell phones on you, if you could silence them, that would be great. And also as a reminder, we will be live on the City of Victoria Facebook, the city's YouTube page, and TV 15. Well, welcome everyone. Please direct your attention to the screen for a tribute video produced by the City of Victoria.
Thank y'all for loving our city and being a part of it. God bless you all. Thank you.
Look forward to another great year working with good people like y'all, and I have a great time while helping others, and that's what it's all about.
Please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Victoria Police Department Honor Guard. Please remain standing for the opening prayer by Father Michael Keeler from Trinity Episcopal Church.
Good afternoon. Happy Gay Moses Day. From Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, we do not lose heart. Even though our outward nature is wasting away, our inner nature is being renewed day by day. For this slight momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory beyond all measure, because we look not at what can be seen, but at what cannot be seen. For what can be seen is temporary, but what cannot be seen is eternal. Let's pause today to give thanks for the eternal glory that our brother Gary Moses is now in the full presence of. Let us pray. O God of grace and glory, we remember before you this day our brother Gary. We thank you for giving him to us, his family and friends, to know and to love as a companion on our earthly pilgrimage. In your boundless compassion, console us who mourn. Give us faith to see in death the gate of eternal life, so that in quiet confidence we may continue our course on earth until by your call we are reunited with those who have gone before. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
You may be seated. I would now like to call up the City of Victoria Mayor, Mr. Dwayne Crocker.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. So good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to be here with you today. You'll be happy to know that my remarks will be short. There's a number of people to speak this afternoon, and I'm sure you'd much rather hear from them. But as your mayor, I wanted to kind of focus our remarks more on a community perspective. So, you know, we're here today to celebrate a life and honor a legacy. And Gary built a legacy one student at a time, one microphone at a time, right? One event at a time, one conversation at a time. And it was over years and years and years, and he built a legacy that really became a huge part of our community. You know, he had a remarkable ability that he could make every person he interacted with in any given day, which was a lot of people, feel like that conversation was the most important conversation that he had that day. You know, Gary and I would be at events together. This will surprise no one, that would be the only two guys in the room in a suit, right? We're suit nerds, you know. Gary always was looking sharp, and he would always come up and he'd say, "Mayor, you're looking sharp. I like that tie, I like that suit." But it didn't end there. He always took it a step further. It was, "Hey," you know, he'd lean in, "You're doing a great job. Hey, I'm supporting you." And that was Gary. You know, he always had that little something extra. There's a quote, and I remembered it when I was preparing these remarks, and I'd always thought it was credited to Maya Angelou, the poet. But it was actually a quote from a gentleman named Carl Buhner. And that quote says, "They may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." That was the magic of Gary, right? I don't know what he told me, but I walked away better for it. He always had that ability. He could lift you up, support you. He was enthusiastic. You walked away going, "Man, that was a great conversation. What'd y'all talk about?" I have no idea. You know? But for decades, that simple approach strengthened the fabric of Victoria. You know, his life reminds us that the character of a community isn't just buildings, and it's not businesses, and it's not what kind of public event spaces you have. The character of your community is your people. It's how you interact with one another. It's how you, serve your community and help your community. And as we honor Gary today, I think his passing presents us with more than an opportunity to honor him, but also an opportunity for reflection. And that's personal reflection for each of us. We can ask ourselves, how do people feel when they interact with me? What am I doing to serve my community, help my community? You know, Gary was out there all the time at all these things. Am I doing something to help the community? But you know, that type of reflection alone, that's not enough. Reflection should lead to an opportunity for action for each one of us. Now, I'm not suggesting that anybody can replace Brother Gary. There's never going to be another one. We all know that. For one thing, I was convinced for years he had a clone. Let's start there. That guy was everywhere, okay? But secondly, I don't think any of us have the stamina to go to as many events as he did, okay? But each one of us can do our little part. We can carry forward the small part of what made his life so special that this room's filled here today. You know, we can choose to know our neighbors better. We can volunteer. We can help out at a civic event. We can help out at a fundraiser for a charity event. We can become more involved in the life of our community. And in my view, if enough of us do that, then Gary's legacy is not something that we just remember, it's something we continue. So in closing, I do want to say on behalf of myself, behalf of council, administrative staff, and the entirety of employees at the City of Victoria, I want to offer deepest condolences to Gary's family and to the countless friends whose lives he touched. May we honor him not only with our words today, but with the lives that we choose to live tomorrow. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mary. We appreciate that. And now we have a message from U.S. Representative Congressman Michael Cloud.
It pains me that I can't be there today to celebrate with you the life of one of the most honorable men I've known. If ever there was a life worth celebrating, Brother Gary Moses certainly is that man. He lived a life full of life and a life that's worth living for sure. You know, I would say that he was a dear friend, that we had a special relationship. I'll certainly miss the hugs, the warm greetings, just the uplifting words he always had. But I know that that's also how he made so many other people feel. Every person he came in contact, he made you feel like you were the most special person on earth, and that you were worthy of attention and care. And you know, I think of that word, appreciate. It means actually to add value, and I think that's what he did to every person he met. He appreciated them in a way that added value to their life. You know, I think you know, we talk about a lot of people will spend their life investing in things and hopefully accumulating some sort of sustainment and wealth along the way. His investment was in each and every one of us. He spent his life investing in so many people, and everywhere you would go, you know, every event in the community, he was always there, and spending time, giving of himself tirelessly, full of energy. I don't know where he got it all to be at everything, but to pour into and invest in the lives of so many of us. I know we are richer for it. You know, really, Brother Gary Moses turned our city into a community, and I sure hope that's something that we will carry on to honor his legacy and ensure that that part of who we've become because of him continues in our community. You know, there's a scripture in Hebrews that talks about that there's a great cloud of witnesses of the people who've gone before us, cheering us on to live a good life and run the race of life. And I am sure that as each one of us go on from this moment and we do our best to live a good life, hopefully inspired by the one that he lived before us. No doubt he is going to be one of the loudest voices in the stands, cheering us on from that great cloud of witnesses in the sky as we run the race of life. And so, Brother Gary Moses, we love you. We thank you for the life that you've lived. And we'll keep your family in our prayers. And thank you. God bless you.
State Senator Lois Colcourse was unable to be here today and has a message that Kim Moore will be reading on her behalf.
It is truly my honor to be here and speak on Senator Colcourt's behalf. Dear friends and family, as we gather today with heavy hearts, we come to honor Brother Gary Moses, a truly remarkable man who dedicated his life to serving others. Gary was more than a respected community leader. He was a genuine friend, a mentor, and a source of encouragement. His warm greetings, whether, hey brother, hey sister, made everyone feel seen and valued. He believed in the power of community and showed up for our children, families, and neighbors, always ready to lend a hand or a listening ear. He and I enjoyed a very warm relationship, and I will always appreciate the way he would welcome me to Victoria each time we met at various events. He was more than a goodwill ambassador. He made you feel like an old friend. His impact is found not in titles or accolades, but in the lives he touched and the countless moments of kindness he shared. Gary taught me that true leadership lies in serving others and lifting people up. To Brother Gary's loved ones, I extend my deepest sympathies and gratitude for the gift of his life. Though our hearts are heavy, we commit to carrying his example forward, continuing his mission of love, courage, and service. Thank you, Brother Gary, for inspiring us all. With heartfelt condolences, Lois Colcourse, Texas State Senator, District 18.
And now I'd like to call up one of Brother Gary's many dear friends, Dr. John McNeil.
Well, thank you. I'm John McNeil. I was Gary's friend, Gary's doctor. I thought I was the only one he called brother, but I guess that's not the case. Yeah, I really did for a little while. But all right, just want to thank y'all for the opportunity to get up here to talk about a great Victorian and a great man. You know, this guy was over the top in everything he did. Before I say a few words, I want to express my most sincere condolences to his family, to the ones I know and to the ones I don't know. Kristen, Mike, Misty, Thomas, I see you over there. How's retirement? I'm sure it's great. So anyway, you know, thank you, Kristen, Mike, and everyone for sharing your family with us and our families. You know, and that's what it was about to Gary. It was about sharing. It was about there being around everybody and being there for everyone. I kind of liked everything the mayor said because a lot of it's what I wrote down too. So anyway, I just have a great deep appreciation, and thank you from my own heart for letting me be part of his care and part of his life too. You know, I thought about, you know, how do you go about talking about a guy like this? You know, everybody knows what a wonderful person he was, and everybody knows what he did. And so I thought that I'd start off by saying the first time that I met Gary. You know, that's a good way to start it. But then I remembered that I didn't remember the first time I met Gary. So that pretty much did that one. But, you know, then that's the thing. I mean, Gary was just always there. You know, he was just always there. You know, I mean, everywhere I went, he was there. I felt like I'd known him forever. He felt like he'd known me forever, and we just knew each other. I found out that he was friends with my parents, you know. I think, I mean, I tried to really think back on when I met him, and I was telling my wife, I think he officiated my first communion, but that would have made him about 13 years old, so maybe not. All right. So I thought about what he did, you know, or it'd be easier to say what he didn't do. You know, he was a teacher, he was a mentor, he was a media spokesperson. He was there when everybody needed him. He just was there. That's what Gary was. And there was nothing that really happened without Gary being part of it. And just like the mayor said, the biggest thing I wrote down and the most important thing that Gary brought to me was Gary had a way of making people feel better about themselves. It's like everyone else has said, when he was talking to you, that was it. You were the center of the universe to him, and he was just there for you, and you left there feeling better about yourself. And I agree, sometimes you didn't know what you talked about, but you knew it was a great conversation. So he was just a genuine person. You know, with me, it was, hey, Doc. That's what it was. Hey, Doc. Hearing good things about you, Doc. Everything's going well, Doc. You doing okay? And I'm like, yeah, Gary, how about you? And that's about what it was. That's how we always started off. He would walk up to me. He wanted to know how I was doing. He wanted to know how the family was doing. He'd want to know what he could do to help. And I'm sure he did that with probably 90% of the people in this room. Nobody didn't know Gary. You know, even if you met him for 2 seconds, you felt like he was a lifelong friend. He had that ability. We could all learn from that, I agree. A few kind words to someone can make a tremendous difference. Gary mastered that, and that is a big part of what I consider his legacy as well. Personally, Gary was there for the good times in my life and was always there to help. Back in my clinic days, Misty remembers those, back in my clinic days, every grand opening, Gary had to be there. And he would ask me, when you open in a clinic, Doc, I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. And pretty much it got to be the deal that, you know, you didn't do an event unless he knew about it. He was like the event guy. So he was there for the sad times of my life, you know. He knew my parents well, and he was there when we buried both of them. He was there supporting, you know, hugging me, holding my hand, just being Gary. And it wasn't something he just pretended to do. It was what he was and who he was. That's just the way he was. I'm sure all of y'all, or a lot of y'all, have similar stories. So anyway, I'm going to tell you just one Gary story. I have only one Gary story. I have a lot, I guess, but I'm just going to tell you this one. It kind of goes to the heart of what I was talking about. I was working in the emergency department one day, and when we have an emergency somewhere in the hospital, they call this thing over the loudspeaker over the hospital, and the ER doctor goes up there to help. So they had called for something in the intensive care unit, so I left the ER, and that's quite a hike too, Mr. Olson. I want you to know that. That was quite a hike. So we go over there, and I'm walking down the hall, and I see Gary, and he's doing Gary stuff. He's patting people on the back and just saying hello, and and I saw him, and I said, oh man, he's going to want to talk, but I'm in a hurry. So what do I do? So I kind of slid to the side and made myself as invisible as possible. I'm not very invisible, but anyway, so I kind of slid around the corner, and I got past him, and I was like, okay, I got it. And next thing, hey, Doc. And I was like, you got me. I said, Gary, I'm going to an emergency. Come with me. Come with me. We'll talk on the way up there, because I can take the elevator up and everything. I'm certainly not taking the stairs. So anyway, we go up the elevator, and we're chatting, and I go up to the ICU, and I go inside and did what we need to do and stabilize the patient. I came back out, and because typically after we do something like that, we go and we talk to the families and tell them, what's going on and how their loved one's doing. And I tell you what, I walked out there, and there was Gary. He was in full-on Gary mode. He had his hand on the shoulder of the guy's wife, the patient's wife. There was somebody underneath his arm over here. He was praying with them. He was talking to them. He was telling them that they're in a great place. This is a good hospital. We got good nurses. We got good doctors. We got a great ICU. We're going to take good care of your loved one. And I walked out there, and my work was done. All I had to say is, yeah, he looks pretty good. So, and that was it. But that was Gary, and that's what Gary did. As most of you have probably surmised by now, I had the honor of taking care of my friend as his physician. So, when we made the diagnosis that he was ill, he told me, he never once said, what do I got to do to make myself better, Doc? But I can't count the number of times he said, I have responsibilities to the people of this community. And I'm not just saying that. Those are the words he used. He said, I have responsibilities and I have things. It was before Christmas, and he had some deal at HEB, I think, for the food bank. And so people are nodding, so I was right on that one. And then he also had a market days, I think, in Goldie. I had a couple things. He said, I have 3 or 4 things that I absolutely positively have to do. And I said, Gary, as your physician, as your friend, I understand that, but as your physician, I don't think that's a good idea. And he looked at me like I was out of my mind. And guess what he did? Every one of them, okay? He did every one of them. And that, folks, is the definition of selflessness. He put everybody before, and I can honestly tell you that he put our needs before even his own health. And the people that knew him closely knew that he would do that. And I really expected nothing less, because I knew he would do that. Well, thank you for letting me talk about my friend, and thank you so much to the people up here that are his family. Thank you for sharing him with me. Thank you for sharing him with our community. He'll never be forgotten. This thing is a really nice deal y'all did too, by the way. Anyway, God bless y'all, and thank you for letting me talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. McNeil. Another one of Brothers Gary's friend Mr. Ron Koshin with Warriors Weekend, I'd like to call you up, sir.
Hey, Melissa, where are you? Where is she? I'm blind. Where is she? I made it. Why am I pulling out my wallet? I don't have to pay for this, do I? She asked me, do you think you can get up the stairs? I'm almost 80 years old. She said, you want to do it from down here? And I said, no, I'll make it. I love those handrails. Hard to follow that act, Dr. McNeil. Great man, took great care of our brother. This is going to be tough. Thank you all for coming here and honor him, Brother Gary. It's his birthday today, I believe, am I correct? As many of you, maybe all of you, we've known Brother Gary for many, many years. What he came to mean to this town, this community, is too large to describe. He was everywhere, as the mayor said, I think, or Doc said. He was. I always said it, I think he was cloned. He was everywhere. And it wasn't a party unless Brother Gary was there. You didn't have to worry because he was there. He just was. And it was wonderful. He was always, Ronnie, look at this, Ronnie. My mother, my daddy, my siblings, and my wife are the only ones that call me Ronnie, except for Brother Gary. He graduated Victoria High in '67 with my wife, Sherry. By the way, they have a little reunion Friday. They'll miss him. I graduated in '65. Mike graduated in '63. He was a basketball star at Victoria High. So we go a long way back. We're also fighting termites. You're going, what's a termite? Patty Welder, Brother Gary, Brother Mike, and myself fighting termites. We lost another great one, Barbara Sutter, who was there 50 years, a great, great friend of Brother Gary's. She died this year. She was at Patty Welder 50 years. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But he always said, we are family, Ronnie. We're family, Ronnie. And I felt that way. One of my fondest memories of Brother Gary is, as Doc said, there's many of them. We have a white Christmas at the American Legion every year, and he always shows up, of course, and he sat with me, and you go in and you bring a gift and you pull a number right, and then when your number is called, you either get a gift from under the tree or you steal from somebody. What'd I do, Ronnie? What'd I do? When his number came up last time, what'd I do? I said, well, you can go get one or steal that deal right over there. That's a really nice deal. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. I said, brother, go steal it. Oh, no. I said, I want to see the headline, Brother Gary caught stealing. He would not do it. Of course not. Brother Gary was such a huge part of Warriors Weekend, especially at Mustard and Warriors Weekend Field of Honor. He was our master of ceremonies. He did a masterful job, as you all know, every time he was a master of ceremonies. It was always, sir, Brother Gary reporting for duty, sir, when he first addressed Colonel Mike Petros at the field and saluted him. Brother Gary reporting for duty. It was his duty in his mind, and we loved him for it. When I met Kristen for the first time, it was at St. David's Hospital in Austin. I don't know, we got to communicating through Brother and asked her if we could come up and see him, and she said, absolutely. So my wife, Sherry, and I, and my boy, Tony, most of y'all know my boy, Tony, my brother from a different mother. I don't know if he's in here. He's been driving people in a golf cart. We went, maybe spent 15 minutes with him, but we thought it was important for him to know that people remembering him because he was out of action at that time. I forget when it was, Kristen, like December maybe. Yeah, but it was good to see him, and you know, we didn't bug him too much, but we went all the way to Austin just to see him and turned around and came home. Brother Gary and I have the same barber, a little bit of different haircut. Fred Trevino. I don't know if Fred's here or if he can hear me somewhere, but I know Ralph took Fred to cut his hair and trim his mustache in Austin, all the way to Austin just to give a little haircut. But that was Brother Gary too. Brother Gary had an image that he loved and we loved. And it was important to him that he always looked good, as Doc said, look sharp. Or Mayor, then the mayor said, Brother Gary never said to me, Ronnie, you look sharp. He never said that. Never heard that. I talked to him about that. But he was always there for us. The heroes that we bring in, and they loved him. They loved seeing him there. I don't know if y'all have seen, some of you driven by the field. We put it up last night, a tribute to Brother Gary. And, you know, when I called Colonel Mike, who runs the field for us, and I said, hey, we need to do something out there. And he said, yeah, and we will. And he called me back and said, you know, I don't want to put R.I.P., rest in peace, like everything else. I said, Mike, it's been on my mind. He loved us all. He did. And if you go by there, at night it's lit up. There's a tribute to him and the words, he loved us all. Because he did. I don't care if you're the mayor. I don't care if you're a homeless. He loved you. He loved his past students especially. You couldn't stand there. Ronnie, I taught him. Ronnie, I taught her. I said, Brother Gary, I'd like to meet the kid you haven't taught. 1,000,000 times. He used to love to stand. Our booth at the stock show is right there by the doors. Well, that's where you come in. He stood there for hours with us every year, and we loved it. That man got 1,000,000 hugs, and he stood there and talked to us the whole time. I mean, it was a beautiful thing. Anyway, when I heard that this city council and the mayor may be naming this facility after Brother Gary, I got excited. I don't get too excited about city council much, but we have a history. I called my friend Daryl Lesak, and I said, Daryl, is this true? He said, well, it's up for vote. I said, I'm going to tell you something. And when it went through, I called Daryl back, I think, and I said, y'all did a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. So mayor, council, thank you for that. City manager, appreciate all your work in that. It's a beautiful, beautiful, lasting legacy for him. Great thing. But I agree. Brother Gary loved pets and he loved veterans, right? He loved his animals. He loved his veterans. Vietnam veterans, my buddies are sitting right here. Raise your hand, guys. These guys went to war for us. These guys over here, they're veterans over here by the dozens. Thank you, men. Thank you for your service to this country. Well, we have to remember, and Brother Gary knew it, without these guys and the ones who went before them, this doesn't exist. None of this exists without these veterans and what they've done for this country. Brother Gary loved his veterans. He was able to come to, not this year, I don't know, Ralph, was it this year at the Vietnam Veterans Dinner, Christmas dinner, or was it last year? This year. Yeah, he was able to come to that, and it was great. Ralph helped him big time. If you don't know who Ralph is, remember the movie Driving Miss Daisy? Ralph drove Miss Daisy, Brother Gary, around when he couldn't drive anymore. There's not a better friend in the world than Ralph Salazar from Magic 95 right here. He did a great thing. I'm going to mention a couple of ladies, and I'll get off of here pretty quick. This is my brother. Kristen, Brother Gary's niece, no one loved her uncle more than she did. And when things were getting crazy and there were rumors about what's going on with Brother Gary, she texted me or called me and said, Ron, we got to do something. And I said, I know the lady to get it out there. That lady back there in that green blouse by the back door. Put your hand up, please. Melissa Rivera of Town Square Media. I work with heroes all the time, military veterans, these guys, those guys. I work with them all the time. And I don't like to use that word other than them, but locally, that's a hero right there. She put this together. Thank you, Melissa. Am I right, Kristen? I'm right. I did good there, huh? Yeah. So thank y'all for loving him so much. Big brother Mike, thank you for loving him like you did. Irene, thank you for loving him. Misty, Ralph Salazar, Magic 95. You know, he was always somewhere. Generals games, Wade and Carter bingo night. Quick story, I'm at Wade and Carter bingo night, and they talked me into doing the dobbing thing. I like to do the machines, right? So I'm dobbing, and Brother Gary comes in, Ronnie, and he's talking. And I said, hey, to the group, I said, when are we going to do the green sheet? Ronnie, we did that. I said, Brother Gary, you got to go. You got to go. I said, and I told him later, I said, I'm about probably the only person in Victoria County who's ever shushed you away. He said, oh, no, you're not. He was great. But his presence was everywhere. When he'd come up, Ronnie, I've been here. I've been to the Boys Club. I've been to the Miss Victoria pageant. I've been to Boys CDM, Children's Discovery Museum, our event, Chick-fil-A, 5, and he had 6 more quinceaneras to go to after that. That's one day. Right, Doc? Couldn't slow him down, could you? Couldn't slow him down. In closing, we'll never forget Brother Gary. I hope you all have a niece like Kristen, a brother like his brother Mike, a special friend like Irene, or a friend like Ralph Salazar to take care of you when you need help. My wife Sherry asked me to say the following. If I tried to pass it off as mine, y'all would know better. His presence has inspired all of us to care for others more than ourselves and to show love to others every day. He made this world such a better place. Let each of us do the same. Sherry and I loved him, as did you all. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Koshin. We do have another dear friend that's coming up, and that is Mr. David Hartman.
Well, thank you, Ron. You certainly gave me a lot more confidence that maybe I can get through this thing. Because for any of y'all that know me, I've been a lot of prayers said to get me through because I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeves, but I'm confident that I can get through this for Gary. One thing about it, in trying to prepare for this and being one of the next to last before Kristen's going to speak, it's kind of a daunting task thinking, well, how exactly for myself do I cover 45 years and not honestly repeat the same thing? And my compliments to everyone, the mayor who's spoken, Dr. McNeil, you guys did a fantastic job of explaining it. And again, Gary's charm was really rather simple. It wasn't anything precocious or fancy about him. But I'll start with my notes. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank God for sending Gary Moses to us and allowing all of us to cross paths with him in life. I'd also very much like to thank Mike, Kristen, the Moses family for giving me the opportunity to speak about some of my experiences with Gary over the past 45 years. It truly is an honor for me to share some of these stories with you today. I'd also like to thank each of you for your prayers and well wishes for Gary over these past several months. The outpouring of love for our brother and friend has been nothing short of overwhelming for me, as I know it has been for Gary's family and closest friends. Thank you all for being here today to honor his incredible life and service to our community. I believe I first met Gary around 1980. My family's business, Hartman Distributing Company, had begun sponsoring special events with the Parks and Recreation Department, and their superintendent of recreation at that time just happened to be Gary Moses. Even at that age, I realized that Gary had a very special way he treated people, all types of people, of all ages and from all walks of life. It certainly made an impression on me and obviously on many of you growing up here in Victoria. That first impression never changed over all the years I was privileged to work with him and blessed to call him a friend. Over the years, I often referred to him as the great encourager. Like Barnabas is described in the book of Acts in the New Testament, he had a servant's heart for sure and shared his time, possessions, and uplifting nature with everyone he encountered. Having been involved in planning and staging lots of community events, we were fortunate that most of them were fairly well attended, something we felt good about and could deem a successful effort. On occasion, however, we did experience a flop or two along the way. Gary, as you might imagine, was an event organizer's dream come true. While we have a capacity crowd in here of 750 or more on a day like today, in Gary's terms, that equated to more like 1,500 to 2,000 in and out. When I was disappointed and maybe only 150 people or so had showed up to an event that we had a lot higher expectations for, Gary would say it looked like 500 to 600 in and out. While I was disappointed, I would set my disappointments aside for just a minute and laugh, responding that I didn't see much in or out, but that I very much appreciated his ever-present optimism about things. That's what my friend, Brother Gary Moses, was all about. I'd say we have 4,000 to 5,000 probably in or out today, brother. Gary was passionate about several things throughout his life. His love for his mother and father and his family, his faith, teaching, sports, and his love for people, a few of which I'd like to touch on with you now. One of the things that Gary was most passionate about was education. Gary's easygoing nature served him well as a teacher for many years, sometimes being asked to handle the rowdiest classes and students. I think those of you that were lucky enough to have him as a teacher, probably including many of you here today, could attest to a word of praise or some advice that he made that made you feel he understood how you felt and that things would somehow turn out all right. He loved his time in the classroom because he truly loved his students and their families. He took great pride in teaching multiple generations of Victoria's youth and always listened intently to all their stories about working hard to improve themselves, their newly found success in the classroom or in the job or in successfully getting into college or receiving their college degree. His pride in his kids and their newfound academic success was always apparent from that patented Brother Gary smile, which almost always was accompanied by a trademark Brother Gary hug. Those embraces were just the best, weren't they? In recent months, as tributes of all kinds began to pour in, I know he was especially excited about the creation of a scholarship program in his honor. Gary always recognized and valued greatly the impact that education and educators had on his life. He took great pride in receiving much of that education here locally, and as such, was always a big supporter of our area's high schools, Victoria College and UHV. Whether it's supporting our schools any way you can or contributing to the Gary T. Moses Impact Scholarship Fund at the Victoria College, your generosity honors Gary while helping others reach for their dreams just as he did. Gary always had a love for animals. His support for Adopt-A-Pet and all local rescues over the years was truly heartfelt. He had a tremendous amount of admiration and respect for all those who work tirelessly to help animals and devoted many hours to help fundraising efforts on their behalf. You might have also noticed that Gary liked to dress for success. Matter of fact, for anybody that knows me today, this is very much a tribute to you, brother, because this is not my normal attire. that is for sure. On any given day, you'd find Gary sporting a clean, starched white dress shirt, usually with his customary red tie and slacks. Whoever once said that clothes make the man must have undoubtedly been referring to Gary Moses. Gary was a regular at Melvin's for many years where they treated him like family. I think Gary's dress was just a reflection of his desire to be at his best every day. I've known the man for over 45 years and can honestly say I never once saw him don a pair of shorts in public. That is the gosh honest truth. Gary loved sports and being around athletes whenever he had the chance. On many Friday nights, he could be found on the home sideline in Memorial Stadium. No fundraising dinner, autograph signing, or card show would ever have been complete without an appearance by Brother Gary. I think he found it exhilarating and inspiring by spending time with people who had achieved greatness in their field. He loved sharing those experiences with others, especially with young people. Taking in a ball game with Gary had its special challenges, though. I can remember a small group of us, Troy Johnson and Mike Foreman included, that attended a Astros game in Houston several years ago. After finding a random restaurant to grab a bite to eat prior to the game, I'll never forget hearing, "Hey, it's Brother Gary," as we came through the front door. There were 4 or 5 people inside that restaurant that recognized him instantly. Of course, he greeted them and spoke to each of them for several minutes. I always told him that gave me a small inkling as to what Rose and Irene felt like all those years going somewhere with him. The same thing happened after we got to the game, and keep in mind, this was not Victoria Day. This was nothing in particular special for Victoria. The same thing happened there, except there was more like 10 people that recognized him. Brother Gary had become a statewide attraction, it seemed. Unbelievable. Gary Moses became the face of our city. He represented what was best about Victoria. He was an ambassador to every visitor he ever met. And no doubt, those people came away with a feeling that, wow, this man really loves his community and its people. Along with his work as a teacher at VISD, Gary spent many years with the Parks and Recreation Department, organizing and assisting in literally hundreds of events, large and small, every year. We once looked through his calendar, and I counted 279 events he participated in during a single year. To him, helping write a press release or loaning a couple of tables for a charitable event was just as much a priority as some of the biggest events that we enjoyed being together with, like the July 4th blast-off, that I got to spend over 30 of those with him. Following his time with the city, Gary landed a job with Citizens Medical Center. I'm not sure exactly what his title was, but I think it was something like Chief Encouragement Officer. I know how much that he enjoyed his work with Citizens, and he was very appreciative of them for the opportunity to work for them. I used to kid him, though, that if things didn't work out with him, he could probably land a record signing bonus with H-E-B or Walmart as a greeter. As I conclude my remarks, I do have an ask or two, and this is similar to all the speakers that have spoken before me. The world will never have another Gary T. Moses. He was one of a kind. He loved to be at the center of attention without needing to have the attention on himself. He just wanted to be the one to push the button to get things started. He took such joy in seeing others succeed in school, in business, relationships, and their faith. He gave freely of his time and talent so that all of us might be a little better off in some way. As a community, we are blessed to have many wonderful, giving people that are committed to doing incredible things for others. Ron already pointed out some that are here. Melissa, and there's several of you that I just am amazed at the work that you do with people in our community, taking care of them. Yes, there will never be another Gary Moses, but the opportunity is there for all of us to offer a word of encouragement whenever we see it's needed, to pay things forward whenever we find ourselves blessed, and to lift each other up with a kind word, a smile, and even a hug Gary would have been proud of. To close, I'll leave you with a line from one of my favorite actors in one of my favorite movies, Morgan Freeman as Red in The Shawshank Redemption. Red, speaking about his friend Andy, who had recently escaped from Shawshank, said, "I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged." Almost made it, Gary. Their feathers are just too bright. Thank you, brother, for everything. I love you and will miss you. My friend, until we meet again, God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Now, speaking of Melissa, I know that she and I talked a little bit, Kristen, about the few words she wanted me to say about when Brother Gary and I would share the stage, because we would help fundraise some events. So before I start that, I want to call up Victoria Police Department Chief Clay Fetters to come up and join me in just a few remarks on behalf of public safety and my interactions with Brother Gary when we shared the stage together and his impact to the public safety community. Well, I had the privilege of hosting many events alongside Brother Gary over the years, both on and off duty. And not long ago, he and I helped with the fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club right here in this very dome. Brother Gary was always present. He would always connect with everyone. As everyone talked about, he remembered names. He remembered where people worked, their families, where they were from, where he taught them in school and years before. And everywhere we went, he'd point someone out and he'd say, "Those are good people. Those are good people right there." And if there was music, which there almost always was, you could count on Brother Gary dancing along to the oldies, 70s and 80s music. Yeah, that's the oldies now. We do consider him. With a familiar smile, he'd say, "Now that's good music right there." Right, JP? He would always say that whenever the music would come on. You can always spot him in his signature crisp white button-down shirt and dress pants. I'm convinced, like you all mentioned, he had 4 or 5 of those shirts hanging in the back seat of his car, always ready for the next event, the next opportunity to serve, or the next chance to encourage someone, no matter what the weather was. I also never knew anyone that didn't have to buy a ticket or a meal at any event other than Brother Gary, because everyone knew, and I know we've said this before, it wasn't an official event unless Brother Gary showed up. And sometimes our event schedules would run just a little behind schedule because Brother Gary would have the mic in hand, making his way around the room, stopping to recognize someone he remembered, telling a story about where they met, reminding everyone that he taught them years before. But above all else, when Brother Gary had his opening remarks or closing comments, he always made sure everyone knew exactly how he felt. He'd point into the crowd with that unmistakable smile and say, "I love you. I love you, brother." And those weren't just words. He meant them. And just like you all spoke before, it's how he would make you feel. And I know, along with everyone else here, I'm going to miss him. We will all miss him.
Hello. Brother Gary was always a strong supporter of all public safety events. His presence at any event brought positivity, support, and credibility. His strong connection with the community was built during his years as a longtime school teacher at Patty Welder, and through the many years he served as the city's ambassador. You could always count on him to show up and be a model of servant leadership and good citizenship for us all to follow. He never knew a stranger. He greeted everyone with a smile and a pat on the back. If he met you once in a crowd of people, he could somehow remember you again later. There are 3 things we can all do to honor Brother Gary and carry on his legacy. Number 1, we can always show up with a smile and a positive attitude. 2, we can treat everyone with kindness. And 3, we can find ways to support our community and local businesses. On behalf of the VPD and first responders, I want to thank Brother Gary for helping make our community great and for setting an example for us all to follow. He may be gone, but he's not forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I would now like to call up Mike File with the Victoria County Veterans Council, who'd like to say a few words.
Well, Brother Gary and I kind of go back a long way, too. Some of you may know me. I'm Mike File. I'm a veteran. I'm with the Victoria County Veterans Council. I'm also with the Disabled American Veterans. but every year the Victoria County Veterans Council puts on the Veterans Day Parade, and I'm in charge of the parade. And every year he go, well, Mike, you think we're gonna get it done? And as soon as the parade was over, we got it done. We'll see you next year. So on behalf of everything that he has done for all the veterans, the Victoria County Veterans Council would like to present a plaque to the family. It so reads, "It is with great honor that the Victoria County Veterans Council presents Brother Gary Moses this award for his time and contributions to the Victoria County veterans."
I would like now to call up Kristen Moses, the niece of Gary Moses.
All right. There isn't much I can tell you about my uncle that you don't already know. You knew him as Brother Gary Moses. To me, he was just Uncle Gary, and I thought he hung the moon ever since I was a little girl. As a child, I knew there was something really special about this guy. I thought he was the coolest, and I had no idea what he even really did. I just knew he was a teacher and that he had an office in the park. On the weekends, I would beg my dad to take me to see him so I could run around the rose garden. My uncle always had rainbow Tic Tacs in his pocket at all times because he knew I was going to ask. Deep down, I think he liked them too. Then later on, I got to witness the thing that he did with everybody, everywhere he went. He stopped for every single person. He knew their names. He knew their families. He asked how they were doing, what they needed, and how he could help. And he made everybody feel like they were the one he'd been waiting to see all day. That's why everybody in this room has a Brother Gary Moses story. Over the past week, I have been so lucky to see the stories and the photos you've all shared of my uncle and feel the deep appreciation you all have for everything he did for this city. Of course, I miss my uncle, but mostly I'm just in awe of the person that he was and the impact one life can make. It's been so beautiful watching this community come together to celebrate his life. All the people, the businesses, the organizations who made today possible. And here we are, sitting inside the building that will soon have his name out front. And there's now even an official Brother Gary Moses Day, and it's today, his birthday. I always knew how much my uncle meant to me, but now I understand how much he meant to all of you. As you know, my uncle cared deeply about a lot of things, but at his heart, he was an educator. He loved teaching, and I know he taught so many of you. He spent 37 years in the classroom and even more encouraging young people to pursue their education. He got his start at Victoria College before going to Southwest Texas State to finish his degree in education. And on that note, I have a video I'd like to share. You might recognize these two guys.
Victoria College
was part of our journey.
I knew I was going to Victoria College. Mike had gone there.
My years at Victoria College were wonderful. It took all the scariness out of going to college. It got me interested in business and finance.
Victoria College prepared me in the best way.
To me, the community college is the future of education.
It reaches all types of people.
I'm a proud alum of Victoria College.
And I'm a proud alum of Victoria College.
Victoria College was part of our journey.
In his memory, there is now a Gary Moses Community Impact Scholarship at Victoria College, and to honor the way he lived, it will be awarded to students who have a history of community involvement and volunteer service. If you'd like to give to this scholarship, turn your program over. Everything you need is on the back. I hope that this scholarship is around for many years to come, helping generations of young people in Victoria go to college who wouldn't otherwise have had the chance. I know that's the kind of legacy my uncle would have wanted. My uncle was truly one of a kind. There will never be another person who moved, gave, and lived quite like he did. But I see him in all of you and in the impact he made in this city, and that will never go away. So let my uncle's life be an inspiration for your own. Tell stories about him and tell them often. Do the things he would have done. Keep naming things after him so future generations wonder what this Gary Moses guy was all about. Support each other, love each other, and remember that even the smallest acts of kindness have great impact. Keep something in your pocket for somebody you know is going to ask, and keep his memory alive the way he would have wanted us to, by becoming, for one another, what Brother Gary was for all of us.
For our closing prayer, I'd like to call up Gary's brother, Michael Moses.
Ron, it's another 80-year-old trying to get up these stairs. Would you pray with me? Lord, we've gathered today grateful for the life of your servant, Brother Gary. He was a brother. He was a friend. He was a leader whose presence shaped this community for decades. In these last 9 months, we watched him fight with a courage that inspired us, a steadiness that never wavered, and a faith that carried him even when his strength could not. We thank you for the years you gave us with him, for his wisdom, his humor, his loyalty, and the way he showed up for people without needing any recognition. You've received him now into your eternal rest, Lord, free from pain, free from struggle, held fully in your peace. And as we leave this place, help us carry forward the goodness he planted in all of us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
As we come to the conclusion of the ceremony, just wanted to make a few reminders. There is a setup for food and snacks here in the dome immediately after the service. Refreshments can also be found in the lobby concessions if you would like some of the free drinks that they're offering. Also, there are Dear Brother Gary cards available for anyone that would like to fill out for the family here at the entrance. You can use those. And also note that as you leave, VPD and Victoria County Sheriff's Office will be assisting with traffic control just so it empties out smoothly, and anyone that they may still be wanting coming in after the ceremony. On behalf of the Moses family, thank you for attending Brother Gary's celebration of life, and please enjoy a performance by the Mariachi Tapatio.